Welcome, sleepy soul. Settle into your blanket, close your eyes, and let my voice guide you through the quiet hum of a night that changed everything. I was 27 when I agreed to help out a former professor by guest lecturing for a week in Birmingham, Alabama. It wasn't a big university, just a modest community college that needed someone to fill in for a few behavioral psychology classes while the regular instructor was recovering from surgery. I thought of it as an easy gig, a little pocket money, free meals, and a chance to revisit the days when life still felt wide open. But what I didn't know then was that one small, harmless yes would pull me into something that still wakes me up in cold sweats years later. The reunion. My old college roommate, Kyle, lived 20 minutes from the college. We'd been inseparable once, nights spent gaming until dawn, laughing over cheap beer, talking about futures we couldn't even imagine. He was the steady one. After graduation, he landed a job in supply chain management, not glamorous but stable. He was renting a decent 2-bedroom apartment in a quiet suburb, tucked between a vape shop, a gas station, and a 24-hour Walmart that never seemed to close. When I called to ask about nearby hotels, he didn't hesitate. "You can crash here," he said. "Still got that extra mattress you helped me drag up 3 flights of stairs back in college. It's waiting for you," so that was the plan. I'd teach my short classes in the afternoons, hang out with Kyle at night, and maybe relive some of those old, stupid, comforting routines. The routine: Kyle worked second shift, so he usually got home a little after midnight. By then, I'd be half asleep on the couch, some nature documentary flickering across the TV. The first night, he tossed his keys on the counter, cracked open a beer, and laughed when he saw me awake. "Still a night owl, huh?" he said. "Only when someone else buys the drinks," I replied. We played Mario Kart on his old Wii, argued over frozen pizza flavors, and around 2 a.m., the munchies hit. "Let's walk to Walmart," Kyle said. "They restock overnight. Place is empty and peaceful at this hour." He wasn't wrong. The aisles glowed under sterile white light, the hum of refrigerators filled the silence, and everything felt weirdly calm. We wandered around like kids. Burritos, Red Baron pizzas, energy drinks, and chips. It was simple. It was harmless. And it became our little ritual. 3 nights in a row, we did the same thing. Games, laughter, and a late-night walk to Walmart. The empty store felt almost sacred, a liminal space between waking and dreaming. But on the 4th night, something changed. The van Thursday night was colder than usual. The kind of cold that bites at your ears and makes every sound echo sharper than it should. When Kyle got home, it was almost 1:15 a.m. His eyes were bloodshot. "Rough night?" I asked. He nodded, rubbing his face. "Someone backed a truck into the dock door. Took hours of reports. I'm dead." He paused, half grinning. "Still down for Walmart?" I laughed. "Lead the way." We stepped outside. The streets were empty, silent except for the hum of streetlights and the crunch of gravel underfoot. The Walmart loomed ahead, bright, hollow, and endless. Only 2 cars sat in the vast lot, a beat-up sedan near the doors, and a white van parked diagonally across 3 spots way out near the loading docks. "Nice parking job," I muttered. Kyle frowned. "That van's been here all week," he said quietly. "Same spot. Same direction." Something in his tone made me glance at it again. The windows were blacked out, no movement. We pushed through the sliding doors, the cold replaced by that familiar buzzing warmth of artificial air and overworked lights. The aisles. It was dead quiet. No music, no chatter, just the mechanical hum of a place built for crowds now holding only ghosts. We grabbed a basket and started toward frozen foods. The air smelled faintly of bleach and something else, maybe old rubber. We passed an old man in the bread aisle, camo jacket, gray beard, hollow eyes. He wasn't shopping, he wasn't moving, just standing, staring straight down the aisle like he was waiting for someone who'd never come. Kyle gave him a polite nod. The man didn't blink, didn't breathe. We moved on. By the time we reached the snack aisle, the air felt wrong. Charged, like static before lightning. I was holding a bag of chips when I noticed a man at the far end of the aisle. Late 30s, buzz-cut, dark hoodie, pale as chalk. He wasn't browsing. He was watching us. I smiled awkwardly. "Hey, man." No reaction. Then Kyle's voice, low. "There's another one behind us." I turned. Another man, taller, thinner, wearing a beanie and denim jacket, stood at the other end. He wasn't looking at us. He was looking straight at the first guy. Neither moved, neither blinked. "What the hell is this?" I whispered. "They're not looking at us," Kyle said. "They're looking at each other." The gunfire, Kyle's hand brushed my arm. "Let's go." We turned to leave, took maybe 3 steps, then came the voice. Calm, flat, cold. "You know why I'm here." From behind us. Then another voice, equally flat. "You don't want to do this." And before my mind could process what was happening, movement. One man reached into his waistband. The other dropped low. "Down!" I yelled, pulling Kyle with me, and the world exploded. Pop, 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 pop. The aisle erupted in flashes and sound. Shelves rattled, chip bags burst open, glass shattered into glittering rain. The smell of gunpowder hit my throat like acid. I couldn't tell who was shooting, couldn't think. Just noise, chaos, the sharp taste of fear. We crawled, fast, desperate, dragging ourselves behind a display of laundry baskets. A bullet shattered a bottle somewhere above us. Detergent spilled across the floor, mixing with the smell of smoke and cordite. Then, silence. Just the echo of distant footsteps fading toward the back. And then, a fire alarm. The emergency door slamming open. Someone had run. Maybe both. The aftermath. We stayed crouched for what felt like forever. My heart hammered so loud I could barely hear anything else. When we finally stood, the aisle looked like a war zone. A cashier appeared from behind the counter, crying into her radio. "They ran," she said between sobs. "Cops are coming." Outside, the night was flooded with red and blue within minutes. Officers asked questions, took notes, led us away from the doors. We gave descriptions: pale hoodie guy, beanie guy. One reached for a gun first, one ran. The police found a few shell casings. A trail of blood leading toward the fire exit, but no bodies, no footprints. The store closed for 3 days. Corporate sent counselors. Then silence. No news reports, no arrests, no follow-up. Just one more story erased by fluorescent light. Years later, I flew home the next day, finished my guest lectures, went back to my life. But it never really left me. Now when I walk into a 24-hour store, I can't help it. My eyes flick to the ends of every aisle. I listen for footsteps. I scan hands, jackets, waistbands. I never wear headphones. I can't. And when a bag of chips crinkles too loud behind me, my whole body tenses. Because I still remember that sound. That split second when 2 strangers looked at each other across a Walmart aisle, and the air itself decided to break. And somewhere out there, under the hum of fluorescent light, maybe another pair of eyes is waiting at the end of another aisle. Just watching. Just waiting. It had been 3 years since the first late-night Walmart incident. The one with gunfire, chaos, and that permanent tension in my chest. I'd told myself I'd never work retail again. I'd tried logistics, a call center, anything that didn't involve fluorescent lights and endless aisles. But rent doesn't care about trauma. Bills don't ask if you're ready. And last fall, after losing my job, desperation pushed me back into a uniform I thought I'd left behind forever. A blue vest, a name tag, and a creeping sense of déjà vu. I was assigned to East Bend Supercenter, basically a Walmart clone just outside Greenwood, Indiana. Dry goods and pharmacy overflow. My job? Stock shelves, answer mundane questions about allergy meds, and keep my head down. Most days it was mindless. Pajama-clad customers, couples arguing over shampoo, kids throwing Skittles, all background noise to my quiet anxiety. I thought I had seen it all. I thought nothing could surprise me anymore. The smell. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon. I was zoning aisle 16, Adult diapers, heating pads, Epsom salts, my headphones in one ear, a true crime podcast murmuring softly. My mind was halfway asleep when I noticed it first. The smell. Foul, rancid, like rotting meat baked under the sun mixed with old sewage and a chemical tang. I gagged, pulling my shirt collar over my nose. Maybe something had spilled. Maybe someone's kid had an accident. Then I heard footsteps, slow, uneven, one heel dragging slightly like the person couldn't lift it fully. A man emerged into the aisle, tall, 6'2", 6'3" maybe, gaunt, long face, sunken eyes. His hoodie hung in tatters, sleeves fraying at the cuffs. Cargo pants sagged loose. One shoe was a boot, the other wrapped in layers of stained cloth. Instinctively, I stepped aside, plastered on a polite smile. He didn't look at me, not once. The leg. At first, I thought he was just strange, maybe homeless, maybe high. But then, he approached the pharmacy counter where Jazz, a petite employee, was helping a customer. I stayed in the aisle, pretending to check stock, but I could see everything. He rolled up his pant leg. Jazz leaned forward, eyes wide. I saw it. A hole. A gaping wet crater where flesh should have been. Gray, yellow, dark green edges, white glistening deep inside. Flies buzzed around it. The smell slammed into me. My stomach heaved. Jazz's voice rose in alarm. "Sir, you need a hospital now. This is serious." He shook his head, muttering, low, raspy. "Don't," I snapped. "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" I said. "Maybe," he whispered. Before I could process, he pulled his leg covering back down, turned, and walked away. Just like that. No yelling, no running. Just hobbling out of the store, leaving behind the smell of death. The aftermath EMTs arrived within 10 minutes. We showed them security footage. They said the wound was advanced, likely necrotic. He may not have survived the night. They canvassed the lot, bus stops, nearby alleys. Nothing. Vanished. No hospital records. No missing person matching his description. For weeks, I checked local news. Nothing. He didn't exist in the records. And yet, I still smell him sometimes. That faint ammonia-like rot that lingers for a second when I pass the pharmacy aisle. Enough to freeze me in place. The lingering fear. That night and every shift since, I've learned to watch. Always. Scan hands. Watch feet. Never wear headphones. Because in a town where people disappear quietly, no one notices when a man starts to rot. No one will remember him. No one will bury him. He is just another shadow among the aisles, a story whispered only by the scent that follows him. And some nights when the store is silent and the fluorescent lights hum, I swear I hear the soft, uneven shuffle of his booted foot coming toward aisle 16. I was 20, a summer intern at Walmart corporate, just another eager kid on the next-gen talent program. Nothing special, just a marketing temp trying to climb a ladder that barely existed. Most of us were half-trained, slightly terrified of being exposed as inexperienced, but we smiled anyway, drank cheap coffee, and pretended we belonged. That summer, the company organized a 3-day corporate retreat, a mix of team-building exercises, training seminars, and PR stunts designed to make interns feel valued. We were to drive from the Bentonville satellite office to a warehouse conference center near Jacksonville. 2 vans, 15 passengers each. The rearrangement Marcus, my buddy from the internship, was loud, infectious, comic book obsessed, always laughing. I liked him. I trusted him. We were supposed to ride in the same van. But just as we were loading bags, one supervisor, Ray, started moving people around. "Marcus," he said, "you go in the other van." Marcus frowned. "Why?" Ray shrugged. "Balance, logistics. You'll room together at the hotel anyway." I got moved back, ending up in van A while Marcus went to van B. Nothing seemed off, just a minor shuffle, but that shuffle's in them would become the difference between life and death. The drive. The vans hit the road mid-morning. US 231 stretched ahead in endless ribbons of asphalt, fields, forests, and nothingness. Music, conversations, laughter, all fading as the miles went by. We stopped around 5 p.m. at a tiny town off the highway. A McDonald's, a gas station, a Dollar General. Stretching legs, tossing fries at pigeons, Marcus joking about fireworks for the drive back. We set off again. Darkness fell. The road narrowed. No lights, no shoulders. Only a long, lonely stretch cutting through forests and swamps. I was dozing when our driver, Ellen, suddenly swerved onto the gravel shoulder and stopped the van. Her voice shook. "Stay here." Confused murmurs spread. Someone asked what happened. She just said, "You don't want to see." The accident. A wall of red taillights appeared in the distance. Trucks and cars lined the highway like a river of fire, people standing outside pointing, crying. And then I saw the van, flipped, completely on its side. Windows shattered, doors torn open, contents strewn across the asphalt. People were bleeding, sitting in shock, screaming, shaking. And then I saw Marcus. He had been thrown, not just inside the van. He landed in the opposite lane, oncoming traffic. He was still alive, arms lifted, torso rising in a desperate attempt to move. An SUV hit him twice, and he was gone. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't believe. Other kids crawled out, screaming, bleeding, dazed. Police and EMTs arrived, sirens blaring in the dark. Statements were given. The night blurred into flashing lights, emergency vehicles, chaos, the aftermath. The corporate office flew counselors down. They called it a tragic accident, offered days off. Training was supposed to resume afterward. No one went back. Marcus' family held a closed casket funeral. I didn't go. I couldn't. My brain kept replaying the seat shuffle, the Van A, Van B decision. I kept asking myself, why him? Why not me? For months I had nightmares, the seatbelt snapping, glass shattering, bones breaking midair. I woke up choking, tasting blood I'd never had. The shadow. It's been over 12 years. I now work in logistics, safe behind a desk. I avoid highways, I drive 10 under the limit, I don't ride in vans. But I think about Marcus every day, the quiet, laughing, kind friend who didn't deserve this fate. And sometimes when the road stretches out before me, I feel that same pang. The sense of fragile chance, the thin line between life and death, and the haunting thought that it could have been me. Rest easy, Marcus. I'm sorry. I will never stop feeling guilty, never stop remembering. And I will never take a ride for granted again. 10 years ago, I had a decent office job at a local manufacturing firm in Charleston. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills, kept my lights on, and made me feel like an adult. My days were predictable. Meetings, safety trainings, emails, and clock watching that felt like a necessary evil. Life wasn't exciting, but it was stable. Then came the layoffs. The layoff, I still remember the day clearly. Half the company was gutted in a single week. One moment I was in a conference room talking about updates to our safety procedures. The next I was carrying a cardboard box of personal items out the front door, my boss mumbling, "We're so sorry." Sorry didn't pay rent. It didn't cover electricity or groceries. I spent the next 2 months burning through my savings, sending resumes into a void. Office jobs didn't call back. Every polite rejection felt like a weight pressing into my chest. The desperation. Eventually, desperation pushed me to consider retail, something I swore I'd never do again after that terrifying night at Walmart years ago. But bills don't care about trauma. Utility companies don't care about fear. Rent doesn't care about dignity. I ended up applying to East Bend Supercenter, the Walmart clone just outside Greenwood, Indiana. Blue vest, name tag, all of it. Returning to the aisles. The first day back was surreal. The fluorescent lights hummed, endless aisles stretching in every direction. Familiar scents, cleaning products, cheap perfume, microwavable meals, assaulted me. I was back where I never wanted to be. Assigned to dry goods and pharmacy overflow, my job was to stock shelves, answer questions, and pretend everything was normal. People in pajamas asking about melatonin, couples fighting over shampoo brands. crying children tossing candy into carts. At first I felt numb, but then the memories came back. Late-night Walmart runs, the gunfire, the eerie quiet after everything went wrong. That tension from years ago didn't leave me. It waited, dormant, ready to resurface. The horror returns. One Tuesday afternoon during a slow shift, I was zoning aisle 16. Adult diapers, Epsom salts, heating pads, headphones in one ear, true crime podcast murmuring softly. And then, the smell. Rancid, foul, like rotting meat left under the sun. Chemical, ammonia, sewage. I gagged, pulling my shirt collar over my nose. My stomach churned. Footsteps, slow, uneven. One heel dragging, shuffling like the person could barely lift it. A man turned the corner. Tall, gaunt, long face, sunken eyes. Hoodie tattered, cargo pants loose, one shoe a boot, the other wrapped in dirty cloth. I instinctively stepped aside, smile plastered, blue vest trembling. He didn't look at me, not once. The leg he shuffled to the pharmacy counter where Jazz, a petite employee, was helping a customer. I watched from the end of the aisle. He rolled up his pant leg and I saw it. A gaping hole. Gray and yellow flesh, green edges, glistening white inside. Flies buzzing. The smell. It hit me full force, violent, choking. Jazz yelled, "Sir, you need a hospital now. This is serious. This could be septic." He shook his head, muttered something, low, raspy. "Don't." I couldn't hesitate. I grabbed my phone. "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" I said. "Maybe," he whispered. Then with a horrifying calm, he pulled the covering back down, turned, and walked away, hobbling uneven, leaving behind that trail of decay and despair. Aftermath EMTs arrived 10 minutes later. Security footage confirmed the severity of his wound, advanced infection, necrosis. They canvassed the parking lot, bus stops, alleys. Nothing. No record at nearby hospitals. No one ever saw him again. Weeks later, I still smell him sometimes, that faint ammonia-like rot that lingers for a heartbeat in aisle 16. Enough to make me freeze. Lingering trauma. Returning to retail after trauma is strange. I thought I was numb, but each shift, each aisle, each customer, every sound, it reminds me I watch, hands, feet. Never headphones, never let my guard down. That man, that smell, the helplessness, it stays with me. In a town where people disappear quietly, no one notices when someone is left to rot. No memorial, no obituary, no record, just me, watching, remembering, and hoping the story doesn't repeat. Final thought. Every time I walk past aisle 16, I swear I hear that shuffling footstep, feel that faint stench, and I remember why I returned to a blue vest. Not because I wanted to, but because life didn't leave me a choice. Some nights I wonder if he's still out there, shuffling through alleys, hiding in shadows, slowly decaying. And no one would notice. No one would care. Except me. It had been over 3 years since the first late-night Walmart horror incident. The one with the gunfire, the chaos, the lingering tension I couldn't shake. I had tried to leave retail behind, moved into logistics, then a call center. But desperation and bills pulled me back into the blue vest at East Bend Supercenter just outside Greenwood, Indiana. I was assigned to the night shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., stocking shelves, checking inventory, and dealing with the occasional weary customer who wandered in for junk food or caffeine. The store at night had a strange, heavy quiet. Fluorescent lights hummed constantly, creating a monotone drone that seemed to settle into your skull. Shadows pooled at the ends of aisles, distorted by the flickering bulbs. First signs. The first weird thing happened a week into my shift rotation. Around 1:30 a.m., I was organizing the health and beauty aisle. The floor was empty, silent except for the soft hum of the refrigeration units. My scanner beeped faintly as I checked stock. Then I smelled it. That same foul chemical rot odor I had smelled years ago. Like raw meat left under the sun, ammonia, decay. I froze, my stomach churned. There was nothing on the floor, nothing spilled, nothing that should smell like death. Then came the sound, footsteps, slow, heavy, dragging. I turned, A man emerged from the end of the aisle. Tall, thin, sunken eyes, hoodie tattered, sleeves frayed. One boot, one wrapped foot. I'd seen him before in nightmares and memories I tried to forget. He didn't speak, didn't look at me, just moved forward, a limp dragging him closer. The aisle of horror I tried to keep calm. Blue vest on, name tag pinned, smile plastered, heart racing. He turned down an adjacent aisle. I followed, pretending to check shelves. The closer I got, the stronger the smell. I gagged, covering my nose with my sleeve. Then I saw it, a wet, gaping wound on his lower leg. Gray, yellow, green edges, flies buzzing, circling, landing briefly. His skin tight and waxy, stretched over bones like melted candle wax. I wanted to run. I wanted to call 911. But he wasn't aggressive. He wasn't yelling. He just hobbled, determined, unbothered by anyone in the store. Jazz, the pharmacy tech, noticed him first. Her eyes widened. She whispered frantically, "Call someone. This is serious. He could die." He muttered something low, raspy, almost human. "Don't." I raised my phone, fingers trembling. "Sir, do you want me to call an ambulance?" I said. "Maybe," he rasped. And then he pulled his leg covering back down and walked away, disappearing into the night, leaving behind that stench of decay and sickness that seemed to linger in the fluorescent-lit aisles. Chaos afterward. EMTs arrived 10 minutes later. Security cameras confirmed what we had all seen. Advanced necrosis, infection. Likely would not survive the night. They canvassed the lot, nearby alleys, even bus stops. Nothing. No hospital records, no missing person reports. He simply vanished. And that was the problem. He could be anywhere, hiding in shadows, slipping between the aisles of 1,000 Walmarts. Slowly decaying, unnoticed, late-night terrors. After that night, I was hyper-aware. Every customer walking down an aisle, every rustle, every dropped item. I never wore headphones. I never let my guard down. The aisles became traps, the fluorescent lights oppressive, the quiet moments unbearable. Sometimes around 3 a.m., I would see shadows moving at the end of the aisles. Just glimpses, too quick to identify, enough to make my blood run cold. The store seemed to breathe, groan. I could swear I felt someone watching from behind a display or lurking in the gap between shelves. Lingering fear. I've worked night shifts for years now. I've seen drifters, vagrants, intoxicated customers, shoplifters, and people who clearly didn't belong. But he was different, not violent, not erratic, just decaying, silent, and aware of every eye in the room except ours. I can still smell him sometimes, that faint hint of ammonia and rot. Enough to make my throat tighten, enough to make me freeze mid-step. No one will remember him. No one will mark where he finally collapsed, if he even did. He's gone. Yet he lingers. A shadow in fluorescent light, a smell that lingers just out of reach, a memory of horror that follows you home. Final thought. Night shifts at East Bend Supercenter are not just about stocking shelves. They are about watching, waiting, and surviving. About knowing that sometimes the worst horrors are silent, patient, and invisible. And somewhere in the aisles, maybe still in the store, maybe wandering the alleys outside, he is still there, decaying, silent and unseen by anyone else. It was another cold winter night at East Bend Supercenter, the Walmart clone outside Greenwood. I had been back on night shifts for a while now, stocking shelves, organizing inventory, answering customer questions. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened that night. The store at night has a certain stillness that gets under your skin. The fluorescent lights buzz constantly, casting sterile white light that doesn't quite reach the corners. Shadows form at the ends of aisles, dark and oppressive, almost moving when you're not looking directly at them. The first warning. I had been working aisle 22, canned foods, pasta, and sauces, since 11:30 p.m. The store was mostly empty. Only a few late-night stragglers wandered the aisles, pushing carts like ghosts, murmuring to themselves. I was arranging cans, scanning inventory, and listening to a true crime podcast in one ear to keep my mind occupied. Then I noticed something strange, a faint rustling at the far end of the aisle. I froze, scanning the shelves. No one, just the shadows. And then, the smell. That foul, chemical, rotting smell I had unfortunately become all too familiar with. Like meat left out in the sun for days mixed with ammonia. I gagged and covered my nose with my sleeve. The watcher I turned slowly. From the corner of my eye I saw him. A tall figure, hunched slightly, moving oddly. Hoodie tattered, sleeves frayed, cargo pants loose, one boot, one wrapped foot. Sunken eyes, gaunt face. The kind of person you hope never walks down your aisle. He wasn't doing anything, just standing at the end of the aisle, staring. Not at me, not at the shelves, just staring. Waiting. My instincts screamed at me to back away, but my blue vest and name tag felt like a target, like I was on display. The horrific discovery. He slowly shuffled toward the pharmacy aisle. Jazz, the employee I had grown to trust, was helping a customer. As he approached, I saw his leg. It was worse than anything I had imagined. A gaping necrotic wound. Yellow-gray flesh, green edges, white glistening deep inside. Flies swarmed. The stench hit me full force. I gagged, nearly falling over a misplaced box of cereal. Jazz's voice rose, panicked. "Sir, you need help. Now. This is serious." He shook his head, muttering low and raspy. "Don't." I pulled out my phone. "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" I said, voice shaking. "Maybe," he whispered. And then, as calmly as he had appeared, he pulled the covering down, turned, and walked away. Hobbling toward the emergency exit, leaving behind that smell of decay that lingered in the aisles long after he vanished. Aftermath. The EMTs arrived within 10 minutes. Security footage confirmed advanced necrosis. The infection was likely fatal if untreated. They searched the parking lot, surrounding alleys and bus stops. Nothing. Vanished. No hospital records. No missing person report. Weeks later, I checked constantly. Local news, police reports, hospitals, nothing. He had simply disappeared. The lingering fear. After that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that the store itself was alive. Shadows moved at the ends of aisles. Rustling sounds came from empty corners. The faint smell of decay would appear unpredictably, sometimes just as I turned to stock shelves or check inventory. I never wore headphones again. I always scanned the ends of aisles, watched people's hands, their feet. I couldn't relax. Even during the quietest shifts, I felt eyes on me, watching, waiting. Final thought. Night shifts at East Bend Supercenter aren't just about work. They are about survival, vigilance, and facing the invisible horrors that creep between the shelves. That man, whatever he was, still haunts my memory. The smell, the wound, the emptiness of the aisles after he vanished. Some nights I can almost hear the uneven shuffle of his booted foot echoing down the darkened corridors of the store. No one else will remember him. No one else will care. He is just a ghost among the fluorescent lights, a lingering shadow that I will never forget. It was late February, the kind of bitter cold that seeps through boots and gloves when I started my shift at East Bend Supercenter. Winter nights were always harder. The store felt larger, emptier, colder. Shadows pooled at the ends of aisles, stretching unnaturally under flickering fluorescent lights. I had been on night shifts for over a year by then, but something about that particular night made my stomach tighten as soon as I clocked in. The empty store. By 11 p.m., most of the store was empty. Only a few late-night customers wandered in, shuffling slowly, carts squeaking over tile. I was assigned aisle 14, household cleaning products and laundry detergents, stocking shelves, straightening bottles, trying to keep my mind occupied. Around midnight, I smelled it, foul, rotting, chemical-smelling stench. My stomach churned. The aisles were empty. Nothing had spilled. No one was in sight. But the smell was unmistakable. Then came the sound. Footsteps. Slow, dragging, uneven. I froze, scanning the aisle ends. The first glimpse. At the end of aisle 14, I saw him. A tall, thin man, hoodie tattered, sleeves frayed, cargo pants baggy, one boot, the other foot wrapped in cloth. Sunken, dull eyes, skin pale, almost waxy. He wasn't talking, not wandering aimlessly. He was watching. I tried to keep my calm. Blue vest, name tag, smile plastered, hands trembling slightly as I held a box of detergent. He didn't move toward me. Not yet. Just stood there, waiting. The horror unfolds. I followed at a safe distance, pretending to check shelves. Every step I took, I could feel the smell getting stronger, the unmistakable stench of decay, ammonia, rot. He moved slowly toward the pharmacy section. Jazz, the tech I trusted, was there, helping a late-night customer. He reached the counter, rolled up his pant leg, and I saw it. A gaping wound on his lower leg, yellow-gray-green edges, white deep inside. Flies buzzing. Skin tight and shiny like wax stretched over bones. Jazz froze. Her voice rose in panic. "Sir, you need medical help, now!" He shook his head, muttered low and raspy. "Don't." I didn't hesitate. I pulled out my phone. "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" I said, voice cracking. "Maybe," he whispered. Then he did something that chilled me to the bone. He pulled the covering back down and walked away, limping toward the back exit, leaving behind the smell of death lingering in the air. Aftermath EMTs arrived quickly. Security footage confirmed advanced necrosis. They searched the lot, bus stops, and alleys. Nothing. Vanished. No hospital records, no missing person reports. Weeks later, I still felt it. Shadows at the end of aisles, rustling noises from empty corners. That faint, lingering stench of decay. The lingering fear night shifts became more than work. Every step down the aisles, every flicker of fluorescent light, every shadow in the corner felt like a threat. I never wore headphones. I watched every hand, every foot. My pulse raced whenever a box fell or a cart squeaked in the distance. I knew the store was no longer just shelves and products. It was alive, breathing, watching. Final thought. Some nights when the aisles are silent and the store is empty, I swear I hear him. The uneven shuffle of his booted foot, the dragging limp, the faint whiff of rot floating down the fluorescent-lit corridors. No one will remember him. No one will care. He is just a ghost lingering among the shelves, a shadow in the blue vest nightmare that I live through every night. And I will never forget him.